Hello, welcome back. In this set of slides, we will talk about variables and the assignments of variables in Python. In this video, we'll talk about different things. We'll talk about first variables in Python. How can we create variables? We probably already saw that in the previous videos, but we'll talk about it in a little bit more details. And we're also going to talk about the assignments. How can we assign and the way to assign values to the variables. And then we'll talk about variables and objects in Python, which is a little bit different than other programming languages. Okay, what is the variable? We already saw variables, we worked with them. Variable, I want you to think about it this way. It's kind of like a container where you can save a certain value. The reason for that is to be able to use it in a different places in program in an easier way. Okay, so for example, in this picture over here, we have pi, which is the value for it is 3.14. And instead of typing 3.14 over and over in different places, I can just assign create a variable or object, we call it pi, and then assign to it 3.14. And then in my program, whenever I want to use pi or 3.14, I can just call this variable. When it comes to creating variables in Python, there's a certain way to create them. First, the name of the variable must be all numbers, letters, or underscores. You cannot have special characters as a name of a variable, or any special character to be part of the name of the variable. A variable name cannot start with a number. It's okay to start with an underscore or to start with a letter, basically. So there's different type of variables, and we saw some of them before. We have numbers such as integers and double or floating points, and we have also string, which is characters. Here is we're going to talk about how can we assign variables. When you come to assign a variable, you have to think about it this way. First, the variable name has to be in the left-hand side of the equal sign. Okay, and the value of it is going to be in the right hand side, and the value of it could be any other variable, could be an expression, okay, or could be, for example, a number, or a string, for example, or float. Okay, one of the things that people will think about it sometimes, and that's a wrong way to do it. You cannot assign variables like this. If you're trying to say y equal to x plus 1, you have to put y in the left-hand side. Whatever you have in the left-hand side, it has to be the variable only. In the right-hand side of the equal sign, it could be the value, it's going to be the value of the variable. It could be an expression, could be another variable, or could be a value. Okay. So again, I'm just going to repeat that again. Whatever you have in the right-hand side is going to be calculated, and it's going to be copied into the left-hand side, which is the variable name that we have, and it must be a single variable name. Okay. Again, the expression could be different things, could be a value, could be another variable, or could be an expression. All of them going to be assigned, calculated, and then copied into the variable as the value for it. Here we have a couple of examples here, and I'm going to switch to idle to just show you some of these examples and the way to work with them. So we saw before, if I want to create a variable name and the name of it name, and I'm going to assign to it, for example, let's say Kevin. Okay, and then if I want to say print name without quotation marks, because when I want to print the value of the variable using print function, I have to use the name between parentheses without having quotation marks. Look what's going to happen when I hit return. It's going to give me the value of name. One of the things that people might do at the beginning, because they get confused with the print function, they would say, okay, I'm going to print name, so I'm going to put name between quotation marks. Guess what? You probably already guessed it. Python is going to print the word name. It's not going to print the value. It's when it sees it between quotation marks, it will think about it. This is a string, and you want me to print it as is. Okay. So another way we also can assign variable to, for example, let's say 3 times 5. And when I say show me what is an x, it's going to give me 15. I can also create a variable, for example y, and assign to it the value of another variable. For example, here I said y equal to x. Now let me see what's inside y. It should give me 15. So this is another way of assigning variables. Okay, let's go back again to the slides. There's one technique is very popular and is very common. So when you go online or when you see some programs in the future, you're going to be doing that of combining assignment statements. Okay, one of the things people will do, for example, since x is 15, as you guys remember, if I want to add to it one number, make it 16. One of the ways I can do it is saying x equal to x plus 1. Okay, now show me what is x. It's going to be 16. So that's a basic way. There is something we can do when we combine a couple of things together when it comes to the assignments. So if I want to increase x by 1 again, I can do it this way. I can say x plus equal, no space between them, and whatever value I want to add to the value of x. So if I want to add to it 1, I can write 1. Now if I say show me what is in x, is going to give me 17. Okay, this is very common and very popular way of increasing, decreasing, or any times like you want to use the same, change the value of a variable using the same variable. Okay, what if I say x minus equal 3 and show me what is x? It's going to give me 14. So this is one of the way is very common and it's very popular. Okay, let's go back again here. Variables and objects. Okay, these are two different things when it comes to programming. Variables and objects, these are different things. If you are familiar with Java or C++, you've heard of the variables and you kept familiar with them, and object, you always think about them, that's something that you create from a class. Okay, in Python treats every variable as an object as well, because they are created from a class. For example, if the variable is an integer, the variable was created from the class integer. That being said, it's also treated as an object. I don't want to make it, it's not a main point at this point, but I want you to be familiar with that. So the variables in Python, we're going to keep calling them variables, but in reality, they are actually objects. Okay, when it comes to objects, there's three main components of the objects. We have the value of the object, we have the type, what is the type of the object, and we have the identity, which is the unique name or the unique identifier that we use in our program. And that's about it for this part.